This is the 5 Point Play Podcast, the Die-Hard Duke basketball fans podcast. Duke with another convincing win, 67-59. And we got more music. That's how good we are. That's how good we are here on the 5 Point Play Podcast, is that when I do a great intro, I need another one. It's kind of like Michael Scott from The Office when he was giving the wedding toast. He had like 7 printed out just in case he didn't have the first one hit. AC, I appreciate that. But yeah, so 67-59. It was ugly. I think that I know that you guys, I think it was Jack and AC, you both said it might be a little bit scrappy early, but then you predicted big blowouts. I was with you. I thought it'd be a little bit ugly. I think Shrewsbury's a phenomenal coach, and he draws. First of all, that guy draws phenomenal plays out of timeouts. We got to steal some of those. But overall, look, Duke found a way to win on the road, and that's all that matters. A team that needed to find a way to win on the road, they did. And I think that that's the one thing that this fan base needs to hear, is that they're not always going to be pretty. I don't care how many 5 stars you have. I don't care how many draft picks you have. The game is the game. I don't care that Notre Dame lost to the Citadel. They've improved. And if you can't see that, then that's on you. We're going to break the game down. We're going to talk about a couple players in our player spotlight. We'll preview the next 2 games, and then AC's going to give you where the real intel is at, which is on Patreon. But, Jack, I wanted to start with you here. The Notre Dame game, it starts and ends with Mark Mitchell for me.
No question on that. Mark Mitchell had probably the best game of his career. I'm not even going to try to dispute that. You guys are welcome to argue. Yeah. He absolutely killed it. What was it? 23 points, 14 rebounds.
Career high in points and boards. Yeah, that's his best game.
It's impressive. Like you can't tell me that's not impressive. And not to mention, I think he missed 1, but he hit 2 threes. Mark Mitchell hit 2 threes.
2 for 2.
He was 2 for 3. Didn't he miss 1 at one point?
2 for 2.
2 for 2. Okay.
I got him
2 for 2 from 3. That's on me. From the line.
Okay. So I misremembered.
Give Mark his 100%, damn it.
Yeah.
Set him straight.
Give Mark his credit. Look.
You give him his 100%.
I'll take that. But no, Mark had crazy good game, and it was completely needed. Because he 14 straight to start the half. And that's coming off the 21-point game too. I'm happy with the production. I hope it continues to be pretty good like that.
Yeah, Pablo, you were gone on last podcast, but now you're back, just like Mark Mitchell was back. What did you like from his game? And he's gonna be Duke's best player right now outside of Jeremy Roach.
Yeah, Mark, he was killing. He did good, man. He played his game. The new system that Duke is running, it's basically highlighting him a lot. And I think he's going to be, he's the key to, where we get to, he's our ceiling, like he's going to be a testament to how far we can go. Obviously in the first half of the game, I'm just going to say this, man, like dead up, like first half of the game was Popeye Jones. It was Tyrone Hill. It was ugly. You know what I'm saying? It was ugly.
Yes, sir. But I think this might be the second Popeye Jones reference ever in the history of the podcast.
Real tough. It was Shabba Ranks. It was ugly. It was Seal. It was ugly. But it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, good teams win ugly games, Pablo.
Good point.
I'm just glad we won, man. You know my slogan, man. I don't really give a fuck about nothing except the dub. I don't care if we win by half a point. That's all that mattered to me, man. The boys came together yesterday and they did what they had to do.
Yeah, D, I think that's right. I say a win's a win, especially on the road. I don't care if you're down on the ACC or think the ACC is the greatest conference ever. A win's a win, and they had to scrap for that one. They hit their free throws late. I know you're big on that. So, overall, yeah, we didn't play great, but we found a way to win.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned free throws because that's what I was going to say the key to this game was. Yeah, it was ugly. They shot terrible from the floor. Although I do like that they kept hunting that shot. They didn't stop shooting the ball because you're not going to make it unless you shoot it. But if you look at the free throws versus what we took, they took, we made, they made. Stop. Free throws.
You got it, dog. I'm just
wow. Well, hey, professional here. Free throws won that game, in my opinion, thanks to TK.
Yeah, Duke was 17-21 from the line. Notre Dame 8-16. Obviously, we took advantage of our opportunities at the stripe. And AC, I'm afraid that if you say anything even remotely cause work, Pablo's going to be all over it. So,
look, you know me. I'm trying. Look,
good luck.
I don't.
Hey, he be owning that shit.
I don't give a fuck.
AC be owning that shit.
I don't give a fuck.
Honestly, the best policy, AC.
Oh man,
you see it behind me too. Look, I don't give a fuck. Nah, for real though. No, like you guys have said, the first half was it was what it was. It was ugly. Second half, Mark took over. Jeremy kind of was consistent the entire game. Like we won the game is the bottom line, right? Like there's gonna be ugly games. We got a team full of sophomores. Like let's stop acting like we got a team full of seniors. Like these are not a bunch of seniors. And guess what? If they were, you're still gonna have some bad games in Division One, man. It's just what it is. What it is. Shrewsbury. When you have a bad team like that who plays well and plays together because they have a good coach, one of the things they do is muck the game up. Like outside of Georgetown, every team that they play, they make them shoot badly from three. They make them shoot badly around the floor. They try to turn you over. They fall all over the place. They do all the things that they scrap. They do all the things that they're supposed to do because they're a terrible team. They're not a good team. But he's a good coach, and he has them working together. So, this is more of a hats off to him, Shrewsbury, and his squad, more so than an indictment on Duke. And, oh, God, everything we just did the past 2 weeks doesn't count now. Like, where were we? Like, everybody's all happy, last couple of weeks, and now all of a sudden we're back to, oh, this team can't win a title or this team can't do this and that. Like, come on, man. Like, which one is it, man? Like, well, it happens. This happens.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. That was really my point at the end of our last podcast is that, we had that great second half against Syracuse, and the fan base is like, we're never going to lose again. And they're going up to Notre Dame. It's another road game, and you just got to remember that each game is its own entity. And Pablo, I wanted to bring you in because before the game, you actually talked about on our text chain, and I think you put it on Twitter, that because Shrewsbury is the coach that he is, and people are starting to know who he is now, you said that he was going to do exactly what AC just pointed out. He was going to muck it up. What did you see from his game plan that Duke can take away from that other teams might try to implement going forward against us?
So, I mean, they honestly, when it's like this, man, like when you play, like most teams, it's not many teams that can match the dude's talent, period. It might not be any team in the nation that could match their talent. So their game plan is always going to be, like AC said, it's going to be to muck the game up. Shrewsbury is like the master of that. You know what I'm saying? Like he can do it from different ways. Pause. That was crazy. But that was wild. I had to pause myself. That was crazy. But yeah, it was funny. I was talking to a guy on Twitter today that does like some good graphics and stuff like that, and we were talking about the Cornet closeout, which you know what I mean is an effective thing. And Shrewsbury, he's a disciple of Brad Stevens. So they did what most teams try to do. They try to they dare Mark to shoot. And the other thing that they did, and why Flip had such a subpar game, is they doubled the shit out of him. I mean, every time he got the ball, he got doubled. Damn near every time he got doubled. So it's like, I knew he wasn't going to have a big game. I knew other guys was going to have to step up. And that's what their game plan was, basically take the star player out the game and if they get beat by somebody else, they was okay with it. And obviously, when we got that much talent, they can't stop everybody. So they gotta pick their poison. So, that was their game plan. Take Flip out. Let's see who else can beat us. Fortunately for us and for Duke, you know what I'm saying? Like we got, multitude of talent, man. And you've seen guys step up. Mark stepped up in a big way. So we pulled the dub out.
And that's why I don't think, and real quick, that's why I like to continue to further answer your question, TK. That's why I don't think right now, I don't think there's anybody in the nation that's gonna like nobody's gonna be able to duplicate what Notre Dame did, because Notre Dame has to play that way. Like other teams are gonna be better. They're not gonna want to play the way Notre Dame does, because that's out of their style and system. Like maybe UVA is the only other team that's gonna want to do that, and we know what we can do against UVA. But right now, there's no team in the nation. You can shut one of our things down, Flip, Rese, somebody. You can shut one of those things down, and we're still going to come at you with some other stuff. So, like, I ain't worried about it, man.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Theo. I was going to bring this to you anyway, that I thought that a lot of teams right now that's their game plan. It's like, okay, we're going to double up on Flip, sometimes throw a triple team at him and make other guys beat you. But to Pablo's point, we have guys, McCain's been playing well. Obviously, he didn't shoot very well against Notre Dame, but Roach is always going to be Roach. So that's there. And now you have Mark playing. So that's two other guys now that can still produce when, you're doubling and triple teaming Flip. Kind of pick your poison. Where can Duke continue to evolve?
Well, let's just talk about a star for a second. And yeah, Flip is probably the most talented player on the team, but who is Duke's star right now? In my opinion, it's Mark Mitchell. I've said for a few podcasts now, that's the keystone of this Duke team, Mark Mitchell. And he has been playing like a certified star in the past, 3-4 games at least?
Yeah.
And is he our star or is Germ our star?
No, I think
is Germ our star or is it Mark?
I think Germ's the leader.
I mean, Jeremy is. I think
Jeremy has transitioned into the most consistent Duke player we have. But I think Mitchell is emerging as a star in front of our eyes. And kudos to the coaching staff because they put him in that position. Mm-hmm. Now, again, we're splitting hairs with all the NBA talent we have on this team. Jeremy a star? Sure. We can have multiple stars like hockey if you want to. But I think right now, Mark Mitchell is the keystone of this team. And the coaching staff has set that chess piece up to be exactly that.
Yeah, Jack, where do you fall on this? Because I feel like he's definitely a star. We're talking about Mark Mitchell. Is he the star of his team? I think right now he's the player. Him and Jeremy Roach are the two players. Actually, him, Jeremy Roach, and McCain, they're the three players on this team that know exactly what their role is. It's going to be the same role the rest of the year. And now it's trying to figure out, Flip has to figure himself out a little bit. We're going to do that in the player spotlight. Tyrese still got to figure some stuff out. Caleb's going to have to figure some stuff out. And then we have our role players that we've talked about before. In your opinion, though, is Mark Mitchell, it's been a 2-game summary of, him kind of dominating, but is he the star of this team right now?
That's a great question, TK. I mean, I don't really know if this team has a true star necessarily. I think they have a bunch of guys who can go for 25 points. I mean, yes, obviously Flip's the most talented player.
It's Flip. It's for sure Flip.
He's the star of the team.
It's goddamn for sure Flip.
Let Jack out.
Don't make me kick your ass, Jack. He's the star of the team.
Hear me out.
All right.
We got you.
You guys are crazy. I feel like this team has 4 or 5 guys who can go off for 25 points any night. And I think, we're going to go to Flip as the first option of the offense until someone proves that they should be any given night. But I really do think that anyone can be that best player any given game with this team. That's my take.
That's true.
I think instead of asking who's the star, because it's Flip, but I think instead of asking who the star is, I think the question is, if somebody has a bad game, who can we withstand having a bad game? Like we've shown now that we can win with Flip having bad games because he can distribute, he can do some of the other things that he does to affect the game on the floor. We've seen the team be able to have, Tyrese have bad games and we can win. We got 3 losses under our belt with Mark Mitchell having bad games. I think, to Dee's point, I think Mark having bad games is more detrimental to this team than anybody else. And we kind of talked about this early in the season. I think it was one of the preseason pod where we said, if somebody got hurt, who would be the one that would be the most difficult to withstand? And Mark was the one that we kind of were like,
Mark, yeah,
that's the one we really can't replace. And so I think that's what we're looking at here is like what Jeremy gives us, what Caleb gives us, what McCain gives us, all that can be replaced with the other perimeter players we have. Flip not having a great game, we got plenty of other perimeter guys who can make up for that. But Mark having bad games, we have 3 losses under our belt with Mark having bad games, and
yes, sir,
no bueno.
So let me say something real quick, not to cut you off, AC. So I think,
no, you got, I was done.
In my opinion, I think if you look at our team, right, I think we got 2 guys that have a certain type of gravity, and I think it's only 2. So I would say it's Jared McCain because of his shooting, and I say Flip because of his star power, versatility, playmaking as a big and everything. Those two on Duke's team, they affect the defense the most because you got to adjust to what they're doing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? This is my opinion. It's my humble opinion. Nobody, obviously, we got our own opinions and shit, but obviously Jared McCain, you can't leave him open. You know what I mean? He's going to draw, he's going to draw a crowd, you know what I mean? That's going to change their game plan. And Flip, you got to change the game plan just as a whole, you know what I mean? So I think those two are the ones with the most gravity on the team. I think Flip is the star. I think Roach is the leader. Yeah, I would say that. And I would say Mark Mitchell is definitely the X factor on this team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think it's a great segue into our player spotlight. And I'll keep it with you here, Pablo, because, our first spotlight is on Filipowski. And I think your point is that if we look at the games we played, we knew coming into this year, other teams are game planning for him. How can we take him out of the game? And I think as the season's gone along, even when his numbers shooting wise have been subpar in a few of these games, certainly not Notre Dame, he's evolved into a player that is looking for other teammates, finding other ways to help his team win. I'd love to see him do more of that. But to your point, though, spotlight him as a player and how he's kind of evolved as the season's gone on.
Yeah, so this year, last year, obviously he was the guy that scored and they just went to him, just score, 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 score. This year they want to do the same, but they know that, like we were saying, teams are game planning for him to take him completely out of the game. I think the best thing about Flip is that even when he's had a bad game, he's still getting over 10 rebounds and he's still distributing and making plays to make other guys, better. You know what I mean? He's affecting the defense a little more. So just spotlighting him, man, and just his overall versatility, I think it's just great, man, to have a guy like him on a team, a 7-footer, man, that could just see over the defense. And that's what allows him to make those passes right over the top of the defenses. And we're seeing a lot of that. They're throwing the ball to him inside. Mark Mitchell's immediately diving, you know what I mean? Once he's getting doubled, easy pass, dunk. We're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of, second and third level reads from Flip out of the post, you know what I mean, to the 3-point line. And a lot of those guys, Jared McCain is the recipient of a lot of those passes, and him and Jeremy, and they're knocking down the threes. So just with Flip, man, I tell you, we're blessed to have that guy, you know what I'm saying? And he's gonna change. He's changing. I mean, you see already, he's every single game that we've played, he's changed the game in some way or another. Whether he scored a lot or he didn't. So that's what I think about Flip.
D, I'll go to you next here because I know on our, kind of game chat, on a text and game chats are funny because, it's the raw emotion, immediately after a play. But, you kind of were a little bit harder on Flip than, Pablo or Jack were in the game thread. I kind of agree with a lot of things you were saying, but I want to give you the mic to kind of talk about that.
Well, first of all, I think, he's absolutely Duke's star player, if you're going to put it in quotes. But if you're going to be that star player, then you need to be held to a higher standard. And just like, and I don't want to bring up what we talked about, on the chat, but the one thing I will say about Flip is when you get that ball on the block, like, let's not wait for that double team to come. Let's turn and face the defender as a 7-footer and go up strong and dunk the ball. That's really my only gripe with him. I mean, again, like I said on that same chat, we're splitting hairs with an All-American, right? We're nitpicking an All-American. Duke's blessed to have Flip. I understand that, but I think he can clean some stuff up that we talked about last season as a freshman, where you get in that safe spot where you're just backing somebody down and then the double team comes and now you're trying to lay it up soft off the boards, and that's not going to fly in the NCAA. If he would just catch that ball, turn, face the defender, and do what a 7-footer does, like that's really all I want to see from Flip. But other than that, I mean, you can't say much.
One thing he did clean up, D. I know this is something we used to talk about all the time last year, was he's not doing as much of the turning his back to the basket, getting the ball ripped from him anymore. That was one thing we wanted to see him change. Now the next one is getting the shoulder square to the basket to make a high percentage of these layups, especially when he got doubles on him. Keeping the ball high.
Well, when you know the double's coming at you too, like do it quick. If you know you have a mismatch and the double's coming, let's turn and face the basket and go quick. And then again, splitting hairs. I get it. I understand. But if we're going to say what can Flip clean up, it's some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect distinction. It's, we're splitting hairs, but I think you labeled it correctly when you talk about the fact that we are holding him to a higher standard because he is the guy for this team. He's a preseason All-American, preseason AC Player of the Year. So we're expecting more of him. Teams are game planning for him. So we're asking more of him than some other people, and because he's earned that. So I would like to see him finish more around the rim. I would like to see him go up with more conviction, trying to get a bucket rather than trying to look for a foul. I'd like to see all those things. Nitpicking, sure, but the percentages also show that he's not scoring around the rim at a high enough clip to be a guy that should average 20 a night. So again, nitpicking, sure, but it's the truth. The numbers don't lie when you look at
he's shooting like 56% from the field, though.
Yeah, he's shooting 57% from two.
Right, but when you look around the rim, and especially in the last few games, those numbers aren't there. So
I mean, it's one game, right? It's like Notre Dame is still sticking super sharp in our mind, but Syracuse, he crushed Syracuse down low in the second half.
In the second half, he was perfect, and I'd like to see
5 of 7. He was 7 of 8 the game before that against Queens.
Yeah, and again, we're nitpicking, but my point is that we're trying to hold him to, like you said, hold him to a higher standard.
Yeah, but I think I get what you're saying. I think, and look, we said it. Like I would much rather see him square his shoulders up to the basket to make a layup than some of the types of layups he gets. Sometimes he gets from the fall, but kind of like what Paulo was saying, as your star player, you want your star player to be able to make big shots when it counts, even if he's having a bad game when it counts. We saw that against Baylor towards the end of the game, against Missy, against Chamo Chachwa, and the big O dude that I can't say his name. Like he was started, like, even though Missy was taking his lunch the whole first 3 quarters of that game, to end that game, Flip came out and balled out. And like Pablo said, one of the ways you can crush a team is if their defensive game plan is to shut you down, and then you still produce within that defensive game plan, that team is done. They're toast. You can't do anything about it. So I think John is going to have to devise some ways to get Flip some easier shots, because I don't know that he's just going to fully change mechanics mid-season. I don't think that that's going to happen. But I think if we can continue to devise ways to get him some easier shots, and Mark playing the way he's played is going to help with that. But devise some ways to get Flip some easier shots, I think that's going to help kind of alleviate some of the stuff. But I mean, Flip's percentages are in my opinion, Flip's percentages from 2 especially are fine. They're better than they were last year. You don't want him to be able to be shut out of a game like he was against Baylor and like he was against Notre Dame. You don't want that, obviously.
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's throw I don't give a fuck in there about stats, like, in there. Like, use the eye test. The past few games, Flip has been kind of a shell of himself, and if you do that in March, you're out. It's one and done. So I would just like to see a little more consistency from Flip. I get his numbers are good, I understand that, but a little more consistency, a little more conviction towards the rim would be nice to see. If we're doing this.
I got you on that, D. But so another thing I'll say too, and I think what people are not realizing is the defensive responsibility that Flip has. You know, he's like literally the only rim protector. You know what I'm saying, and really the only big man defender. True. So not only that, but, you know, you got to realize every team that we play, what is their game plan? A lot of times their game plan is to pull Flip away from the rim. So he's actually chasing guards around too. He's tired. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I think a lot of people, they need to understand that. And that's what's going to take away like a lot of his legs and things like that on the offensive end. If he's trying to back somebody down, turn around and get to the rim, he's probably not going to have the same lift, man, especially if he's, you know, all pause. If he's... Never mind, I ain't even gonna say it. But if he's guarding another guy, you know what I'm saying? If he's guarding another big guy, you know what I'm saying? And then he's got to run around, you know, chase guys through, you know, off screens. They're switching, pick and roll. He's gonna be tired, man. He's gonna be tired. I think the shots that he's actually getting good shots. He's actually getting, you know, the shots he needs and the shots that he can normally hit. And that's why his field goal percentage is still pretty high overall. You know, at the rim, I don't know what it is at the rim, but I'll find that stat. But I think that's one thing that we just have to remember, man. He's not gonna be fresh. You know what I'm saying? The whole game. He's not.
There's no doubt about that. And I think again, this is what Theon's point is that we're nitpicking here because we hold him to a higher standard. We're asking more of him because we expect more, and he can produce that. We've seen it. But I do want to bring Jack in on this because you're the only one that can probably provide some balance here. Kind of talk about where you kind of stand from some of the things that DNR are saying versus the great points that both Pablo and AC have.
My problem with Flip isn't necessarily shot selection or anything. I mean, I think he's played. Obviously, the eye test the last few games hasn't really passed super well, but again, the shot quality overall has been pretty decent. And I think the big thing is the fact that Mark hit 2 threes against Notre Dame. There's going to be more space for him to work with inside the arc now. There's going to be a lot more space for that. My big gripe with Flip, though, I will say this: he doesn't try to shoot all the time when he's at the hoop. He tries to get the contact. And I think you got to finish through the contact strong as opposed to, just doing what James Harden does. I say this as someone who
Spoken like a
watched
true
him on my
Sixers fan.
team. Look, what Flip does when he gets the contact and the call is great. He gets to the line, although the free throw percentage has dropped off a little bit. I really do feel like you got to go up and try to get the ball in the hoop. I don't care if you're getting hacked to death. You gotta try to score. It doesn't matter if you're getting contact or not, because if you're going up expecting contact and just flailing and the contact doesn't come, then you're just going like that, and that's not going to get 2 points on the board.
Could you imagine Flip with a mid-range? Damn, he's a 2-level scorer, but goddamn, if he had a mid-range, bro, oh my goodness.
I mean, didn't he have a decent one in high school?
Check it out, right? I'm on Synergy right now, right? And they talk about stats at the rim, and they got highlighted. You know what I'm saying? So what they'll say, they have like excellent, good, whatever. At the rim, Flip is good at 55%.
62%.
I was gonna say 55% would probably be about close because he's 57% from 2. He doesn't take anything other than, I mean, he takes layups. That's his points are in and around the paint. Like he doesn't take much out of the mid range. That's why I brought that up.
And Synergy's probably got better numbers than this, but I'm on Hoop Math, which is what I generally use.
I'm sorry, at the rim it says, at the rim, good. Hold on. 59%. Effective field goal percentage. 59.
Are you good?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. That's pretty good.
Live reactions here on the podcast, but AC, I'll bring you in while he compiles the stats, because I think that one thing that I definitely agree with Jack on is that if Mark continues to play the way he is, the game plan, we've talked about it ad nauseum. The game plan is directed at Flip, with good reason. If Mark's continuing to play the way he is, versus the game plan that teams are against him and against what they're doing for Flip, that common sense would tell you that should open some things up eventually for Flip, especially when the shooting well.
No, absolutely, and that was one point I just wanted to make real quick before we move on to whatever we do, is that we talk about, like, basketball right now is a guards game. It's a guards game, or at least at the very least, it's a ball handler's game. The thing about being a post player, you still have to be the recipient of a pass. You still have to be a recipient of, a draw up or something that's going to get you, shots in your spots, whether it's at the basket, whether it's in the middle of the paint, whatever. You see it with Zach Edey all the time. He's got to get it off the left hook, or he's got to get over here. He can't get a shot off. So it's the same. Like with Flip, his offense is dependent upon the guards getting him the ball in good spots, and he can handle the ball a little bit depending on how, what kind of defenders on him. But for the most part, most of his shots come from some kind of a pass from one of our guards, whereas our guards can take one-on-one whenever they need to, and when we just absolutely need a bucket. So that's the beauty of this, is like Mark playing better and Mark being a buffer and taking some of that pressure off of Flip along the baseline in the dunker spot where he's getting the ball. And even if he can stretch the floor, then that just takes so much more off of Flip and makes it a lot easier. Whereas now that game plan that the other team is going to have to plan around Flip, like I said, it fails. At that point, it fails because again, if you persist through their game plan, it's over. Like that's how you win games.
Yep.
Go ahead, Pablo. You got some stats for us?
Oh no, I just shot him to you in the group, and I'm just
Okay.
showing y'all, his stats for y'all to look at. I mean, I don't really have nothing to say on it. Really, I already said what I had to say. Like as far as like he's pretty good at the rim. You know what I mean?
Sure.
For the most part. But I understand, like you said. You know what I mean? I know that we're nitpicking, and we want him to be, we always want him to play at that All-American level. I got it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that there might be some things defensively that they can look at that other teams do with guys like Hunter Dickinson and things like that that'll probably minimize some of the some of the energy that he's expending so much. But that's like I said, that's for a whole different podcast, man. I think I think John can do some things like that, but I just think at the same time, man, he's so versatile, man, that they just like what they see out of Flip, man. They know he can guard. You know what I mean? When he's switching off, it's not like they're just taking advantage of him. Only time that Flip is not aggressive on defense is when he has fouls. And granted, he has picked up some really questionable, some really stupid fouls. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about Flip is that he's got it's those little baby touch fouls that he, you know what I'm saying? He's so big. If he should just be knocking people the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? If he gonna hit somebody, he might as well hit him hard. Pause. But I'm just saying, man, like that's what be killing me. That's the only thing that killed me about Flip, man, is is just the baby touch fouls, man. You know what I mean? That's my thing. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's a pretty fair estimate, and I think AC, you guys are going to talk about Coach's Corner at the end of the podcast and kind of give people a preview of that. So it might be something to look, for in the Coach's Corner, kind of maybe look at areas where they could help him out defensively to help conserve some of that energy. But we'll finish up the other player spotlight, which is Tyrese, and this is one that just kind of baffles me a little bit. I know that he's coming off the 4 or 5 game layoff, and he's trying to find his role and things like that after coming off that long break with a new starting lineup coming off the bench. I think we all thought he would start against Notre Dame. He did not. Jack, kind of break down Tyrese Proctor for us and what you're seeing and what can we do to get him to be more aggressive, to be more involved, to be more efficient.
Well, what we're seeing right now is Tyrese Proctor is doing a pretty good job as a floor general. He's not really scoring at the clip we expected him to. The defense isn't really 100%, but this is all coming off of an injury that looked really bad when it happened. And not to say that means it is necessarily bad, but it's definitely, it was a bad injury. He missed a month. Yeah, looking at him overall, though, I don't really know what to say. I'm not gonna lie. It's given the expectations he had, it was quite disappointing. So far since he's been back, he's a good player. We know he's a good player. John's liking what he's seeing with Caleb on the floor better, and I really can't say I disagree as of right now. That being said, I don't think Proctor's playing at 100%. I think that once he is 100%, he will be the point guard. That will not be in question. But again, really, it has been. I can't not call this a disappointment given the expectations he had to start the season.
Yeah, D, I'll bring you on here because I'm with Jack on this. It's hard to kind of sugarcoat this one for me. And again, on prefaces again, saying that, yes, I understand he's coming off the injury. He's probably, to Jack's point, not 100%. But I don't think he's hunting his shot. I don't think that, he had a couple silly turnovers against Notre Dame, which is very unlike him. I thought that he had turned the corner in the second half against Notre Dame. Right now, though, it seems like I think Pablo brought this up, and we talked about it pregame, where I love the idea of John Shire not starting him against Notre Dame, hoping that that's going to motivate him, an okay technique, and it almost seems like it did the opposite.
Well, I mean, Caleb Foster just like AC said, Caleb Foster's going to be Caleb Foster, consistent, inconsistent. But this question was about Tyrese, and they've played arguably the same amount of minutes in the past 2 games. If we're going to talk about who the point guard of this team is, I think they have 2. Proctor can come off the bench and give you the same amount of production that he can in 22 minutes as he can in 35 minutes, in my opinion. So I say this a lot, but I think it really all depends on who runs that first team better in practice coming off the start, because Duke wants to start quick, get ahead quick, establish tempo, and do their game. So what point guard, either Caleb or Proctor can give you that? And right now, kind of like Jack said, I'm not sure. I'm not ready to make a statement on it because I don't know. Like, let me get another 1 or 2 games under my belt, because Proctor's done a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet with just his wingspan alone, that on defense, that lead to turnovers and so on and so forth. So I'm not ready to say yes. Proctor's still coming back from an injury. Don't think he's 100%. Let's let him cook for a second.
Yeah, AC. He's only played 2 games in the last 6 weeks, so gotta give him time to get back. But overall, what can we do to help him, as a coaching staff?
Nothing. He's gonna have to have a switch flip in his head in terms of scoring. I don't think this has anything to do with his ankle, quite honestly. I think the team has become something different when he was out, and this is what we talked about before. I think you asked the question, actually, TK. Does it take a while to get Tyrese integrated back into what we were doing? And my answer to that was, it's going to take as long as it takes for him to learn that he needs to become the scorer. Like, his career high before the LaSalle game this year at 22 was 17 last season, and that was early in the year. So he's not a scorer. He's an opportunistic scorer. That's what he has been. And we relied on him taking more shots last year because we just, between injuries and everything else, we just didn't have a lot of shot takers. Whereas this year we have a lot more shot takers. The team has evolved into a team where the guards are attacking more one-on-one, doing a little bit more that way, and still finding opportunistic shots for each other. So I think his shot's going to have to fall, which it will. We saw that last year where he was shooting, 20-some% to start the season and 40% at the end of the year. So I think we'll see the same trend this year. I think that he clearly has the ball handling ability and everything else to get to the lane at will, and the size, 6'5". He was integral in that game against Syracuse and getting some good shots at the basket with their lengthy guards. And so that that was another cheat code for us against teams that have big guards, is him being able to get those shots down low. So it's going to have to be him, whatever the staff has to do to help him get to that point of flipping that switch, whether it's calling more plays for him or whatever else, putting him in different spots, taking him off the ball, maybe take him off the ball and kind of force him into that secondary role of catching the second or third pass in the offense when the defense has kind of shifted. That's what it's going to take, in my opinion, to get him in line with where we are with what this team has been doing.
Yeah, Pablo, I think Shire actually did that a couple times in the second half there, where he played both Foster and Proctor together and had Foster running the show, having Proctor play off. So, kind of expand on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he did exactly what AC was just saying. You know what I mean? He tried to get him in the role of scoring, because the team did change while he was out. And if you notice, when the team changed, it changed for the better, obviously. And that's because everybody got more aggressive on the team. You know what I'm saying? So Tyrese Proctor coming into that, now he's got to get incorporated into what they're doing. So at the end of the day, Tyrese Proctor has to look in the mirror and say, what do I want to be? What do I want to do? You know what I mean? I'm Tyrese motherfucking Proctor. I'm supposed to be the best point guard in the nation. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on here? He just has to play better. You know what I mean? And it starts with his mentality. He has to change his mentality. He doesn't have to be, we need Tyrese Proctor that played Tennessee last year. Agreed. That's what we need. You know what I'm saying? We don't need Tyrese Proctor to set everybody up all the time. We got enough dudes to do that. That's not what we want to do in our offense. You know what I'm saying? In our offense, we want to, you know what I mean? We want to move. We want a lot of player and ball movement. We want to shoot a lot of threes. You know, we want to get some ball screen going. We want to attack the rim. We want to drive and kick. Those are all the things, all those things that we saying is Tyrese Proctor has that in his game. So he's got to look in the mirror at the end of the day. And like he agrees with me, you know what I mean? He know Tyrese Proctor, he got to look in the mirror and say, I'm Tyrese motherfucking Proctor at the end of the day. And that's just the bottom line. So, you know, John Shire, he's going to be on his ass, pause, you know what I'm saying, until, you know, he figure it out. So, you know, we all here for it.
No, you're not. Hey, you're not wrong. It is a look.
Take the shots.
It's a
Just
look.
take the shots.
I think he's interesting because Shire said after the game in reference to where Mark Mitchell is now after the start that he had, and what's kind of helped him is being more decisive and saying, hey, just shoot the ball. If you're going to be there, shoot the ball. If not, kick it out. If not, get around the rim. If not, do this. If not, do that. But do it with conviction. And I think right now that's the same message probably to Tyrese. It's like, to Pablo's point, you're Tyrese motherfucking Proctor. Just act like it. And I think that's the mindset that he has to get into. So the perfect way to finish off the player spotlight, let's go ahead and preview the next two games because we do play Pitt. Actually, we play them 2 out of 3 times, but we'll just preview this first one. We go up to Pitt, 9 p.m. late game, Tuesday night, and then we finish off Saturday with Georgia Tech. Pitt's had kind of a rough stretch, but they've been in every game. They obviously just beat Jacksonville Cardinals. So AC.
Me claim them. I don't claim them.
But AC, talk about Jeff Cable's squad and what do we need to do to not, succumb to a road loss up in Pitt.
Well, the first one not at Duke. Am I mistaken on that?
We're at Pitt Tuesday.
No, we're at Pitt
for the first one. Okay.
Yeah, we're at Pitt.
Either way, the team goes where Blake Henson takes them, and he's been just like we've kind of talked to some of our guys. He's been inconsistent lately, especially with from field goal percentage and turnover percentage. He's turning the ball over and he's not shooting well. Like bottom line. So
who are you talking about?
That's going to be Blake Henson for Pitt. That's going to be where he goes is going to be kind of where the team goes. Like it could be one of those games where he. You know what I mean? Where he kind of just playing at home, he hasn't played great the past few games, and he comes out on fire because it's Duke and that's what everybody does. Head on fire, everything else. Like they got the Diaz-Graham twins, all that. Like they don't do anything special. Like the thing that they do really well is they take your 3-point shots away from you. That's a Jeff Cable thing. Something he kind of helped bring to Duke when he was there as an assistant as well. Something he had back in the days of Oklahoma and VCU as well. So he's gonna take your easy threes away from you. So we're gonna have to devise some ways to get those shots. I think this is another potential Mark Mitchell game, man. This is another game where Mark can really affect what we do against that squad defensively and offensively, because I think he's probably gonna have the Henson assignment just based on equal size, everything else, and offensively, just getting the ball in spots. Like Cable's gonna pull back. He's probably gonna play a little bit of kind of the pseudo pack line. Probably play a little bit of a zone here and there, switch things up. He switches defenses a lot, so he's going to make us adjust, and we have a team that can adjust. So as long as we can continue to get decent shots, another road game. So bring your shooting hat, fellas. It's going to be difficult.
Yep.
But if we can get some interior presence between Mark, I think we come out with a win. That we can come out with a double-digit win, but I'm not going to pick another double-digit win on the road. Not yet.
Another 35-point.
Nah, not yet. Not yet. Soon, but not yet. So just give me I'll go ahead and give a score now. Just give me 75 to 68 against Pitt.
Yeah, Jack, where are you?
I mean, AC covered the team as a whole pretty well. I'm gonna say 79 to 73. It's gonna be a game. Chit and Chat Holmgren are gonna get guys into foul trouble. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me they don't look like knockoff Chet Holmgren.
Shit in chat.
I saw someone called the Diaz-Graham twins that on Twitter, and
That's funny.
Stuck in my head.
That's real funny.
They're gonna. I feel like they. I mean, obviously Guillermo Diaz-Graham is the better one by a pretty big talent gap, but they're decent players, and I think they're gonna mess with our bigs a little bit. I'm intrigued by that, but again, this team goes as far as Hinson takes them. But yeah, I think Duke wins it by like 5 or 6.
I love that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick. Sorry, TK. Jack pretty much nailed it. I think the length of this Pittsburgh team is going to give Duke some issues. Silly, man. So
Holy
silly.
shit.
I can't even say words.
I'm not saying nothing, dog.
Wild. It's wild. Yeah, the length of this Pittsburgh team is going
to
give Duke
lean into it, bro.
Duke needs to get them in foul trouble early, get the rotations out off the bench early. And I think if Duke does that, it's still going to be a pretty slimy game. Yeah, I don't know. Is that a pause too?
Get him, D.
Slimy?
Get him.
Hey, you on a roll, dog. Go ahead. You got
Get him, D.
But anyway, I mean, I'll still take Duke by the free throw margin. Give me 79-67.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. I think that for me, this is going to be a real stiff game. Probably really hard.
Jesus.
Stiff competition out there. But no, seriously, I think the other fellas really slid in there and gave what their thoughts. I gotta be professional here. No, I think that's right. I think 77-72 is the prediction for this one. Pablo, I'll give you the final word, even though I'm pretty sure I know what you'll say.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I think we're going to win this game. But I think one thing we got to watch in this game is Pitt's guard play. They got some good guards, man. You know what I'm saying? So, the guys I like the most on Pitt is Carrington and Jalen Lowe. And they're kind of, you don't know who's going to start. You know what I mean? Because they both started some games or whatever. But they can play, man. They can play. Shout out to my man, Marlon Lowe, Jalen Lowe. That's his son, kid from Houston. But really shoot, man. Lefty guard, about 6'3", and just plays, man, like the right way. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got no fucking prediction for the score. Just win the fucking game. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm talking about. Just win the game. Fuck the score.
They've been getting Lowe some shots, too, the last couple games.
Yeah.
They've been finally getting him some shots.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, AC. You were going to predict a 35-point win. Now is the time to do it because we play
Georgia Tech. Oh yes,
Saturday. Fucking
take
it to them. I've been circling this game. I am ready for this game. I hope the Crazies are ready for this game. I don't think we need to break down Georgia Tech.
Nope.
We've already played them once.
We know who they are.
Just fucking blow the doors off this game.
We know who they are. We're going to beat the shit out of them. We're going to beat the shit out of them. 90-60. Give it to me.
Wow.
They looking suspect too.
I'm also they've been bad the past 3 games. I'm also predicting this is a Tyrese Proctor come out game. Tyrese would about I'm gonna say to career high Tyrese. Give it to me.
Let's go.
Give it to me. All of it. All of it. Because that's the game he got hurt in. Give it all of it. All of the above. All the above.
Orange Jack, what do you got for a prediction here?
A win, a blowout win, and a big Tyrese Proctor game. I agree with AC. I think these guys are pissed that they lost to Georgia Tech in the first place. I think Tyrese is pissed he didn't get a chance to play. I see zero reason why these guys aren't going to come out guns blazing and just beat the crap out of them.
If this is,
I don't hate a 25 piece from Proctor here.
If this is a game that's going to test your mettle and test like this is going to remind me if it comes to fruition the way I feel like it should and can. This is going to remind me of when Duke beat Maryland at home, the Gerald Henderson's last season when we kind of made that run towards the end of the year, and that really kind of changed that team. And Maryland beat us up there, and God, where the hell did they even play? I forgot where they played.
College Park.
I put them out of my memory so fast. Up in College Park to beat the hell out of us, and then they came down to Duke and got rocketed. So it's the same thing for me.
Yeah, I was at that game. It was awesome. I think Big Z had a huge game that night against Maryland. That's right.
Go.
I'm
Just
predicting
woke my
82.
dog up saying that.
I'm predicting 82-50 here in this game. I think we just absolutely line them up.
That's a good score.
82-50.
That's a special
great
score.
Thank you very much. And it calls for. I will say that I'm with AC on this one. If you're a team that holds a grudge like that, you're a championship level team. If you say, you know what, fuck you, we're not going to let that shit happen again, and we're going to show you who we are. We're going to come out. We're going to hold you. Well, Duke held every opponent this year under their season average. They're not only going to do that, but they're going to hold them to 20 points under their season average against Georgia Tech. They are going to make a point that you are not going to push us around ever again. Go the fuck home. Go back to Atlanta. D, what do you got for a score here?
I don't know the score. 25-plus point win. 80-plus for Duke. Tyrese Proctor gets the game ball. Just win.
Bubs?
We're about to smack these cats, bro. Duke by 100. Fuck it.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's
Love
go.
it. All right, so obviously 2 games coming up. Pitt, Tuesday night. Georgia Tech, don't even bother coming to Cameron Saturday. AC,
Done.
on Patreon this week.
Yeah, man, we got Patreon coming up. We got D, we got Pablo and Jack on the 1s and 2s as usual. They're gonna break down a few things back with the Syracuse game, a few lineup combinations. We kind of had the spotlight tonight on Flip, talking about some of the things that we can see Flip improving on. Player combinations is gonna be one of those things. I think you saw that masterclass John put on against Syracuse. Hopefully, we get a few more examples of it with this Pitt game coming up. We got some articles. We got an article at least, if not another one coming up from TK this week on Spotlight Mark Mitchell and what he's done and just the improvements, the dramatic improvements he's made throughout the season. So we got a lot coming up on Patreon, man. It's free. I can't say free.
Right there.
FREE. Free. It's free. So sign up. Like, there's no harm in signing up. All you're going to do is get great content out of us. You like listening to the podcast, you might as well listen to that, man. We got 300, 500 some odd people listen to our podcast every week. 500 some people on the Patreon. Come on, y'all. Jump on board, man.
Let's go, Duke.
Let's go, Duke, baby.
Go Duke.
Go Duke.